running from police on Tuesday night.
Antwon Rose, too, was a 17-year-old African-American who was fatally shot in East Pittsburgh on June 19, 2018. He was shot by Michael Rosfeld after being suspected of participating in a drive-by shooting. He reportedly had gunshot residue on his hand. Now, in the video, all we see is him fleeing the vehicle with another suspect and get shot. We don't see whether he has a gun in his hand or not. It's really blurry. It's far away. There's no dash cam footage or body cam footage. Now, that just depends on the department's policy. Some of them require them to have footage or dash cams and body cams. Some of them don't. It's just department policy, right? Just like any company has their own policies. Same thing. Now, you'd probably be surprised that lots of the police officers want to have body cams, but that's the case. In fact, as a security officer, I wish I could carry a body cam, but they just won't allow us to. It's different on private property, but basically, it covers your ass. Every person you pull over, every person you get in trouble, every person you got to arrest or cite or ticket, they're all going to try and fight it and say that it wasn't justified and that, they're not all going to try and fight it, but at the time, they're all going to fight with you mostly. Now, just because somebody's unarmed does not make them pose no lethal threat to anybody. They just committed a drive-by according to the call. They're pulling up on a felony stop. These guys fled from them. It looks like they chased them in their vehicle at first, and then they fled out of the vehicle because that's usually how it goes down. But we don't know that for sure because we can't see the whole incident. So when they're fleeing from you and you got to report that they just did a drive-by, what reason is there to think that they're not going to hurt somebody else in their way? Why should you assume that they're unarmed? You shouldn't. You should assume that they're armed, and you should assume that they're going to hurt somebody if you let them go. So at that point, they pose an imminent lethal threat to somebody's life, and the only option is to take lethal force. At the distance that they were running, and the fact that tasers do not work most of the time, all it takes is a thick jacket, and you're free from a taser. Okay? One of those prongs misses, you're free. They can't take that chance. So they have to fucking hit you with the fucking gun, alright? And that's just how it is.
3 gunshots can be heard. Police say the video might not tell the whole story. Susan Copin.
Good morning. This area was filled with demonstrators yesterday. The police officer involved in the shooting has not been identified, but we do know that he was new to the force and had just been sworn in. People in this community are outraged and looking for answers.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
Protesters filled the streets, at one point blocking a law enforcement vehicle. They're demanding answers in Tuesday night's fatal police shooting of Antwon Rose Jr., captured on cell phone video.
Why are they shooting at him?
Rose is seen in a light-colored T-shirt and appears to be running away from police. Rose was shot 3 times and died at a local hospital. Allegheny County Police Superintendent Coleman McDonough.
I understand in today's atmosphere, anytime a young man is killed, there's cause for outrage in some areas.
McDonough says the officer involved has been placed on administrative leave as they conduct an independent investigation.
I would urge people to give us time to conduct an objective investigation to gather facts.
McDonough says the vehicle Rose was in matched a car involved in a nearby drive-by shooting. One person in the car was detained and later released, and police say they found 2 firearms in the vehicle. But Rose was unarmed as he and another suspect ran away and the officer opened fire. Rose's uncle says he sees rage growing in his community amid reports the officer had just joined the force.
The police officers, I know they got a very hard job and everything, but you know what? You got to be fit for the job.
Superintendent McDonough says the police officers involved did not have body cameras, and there were no cameras in the police cars to capture this incident. There is another protest planned for later today, and that 3rd suspect who fled from police is still on the loose. Gail?
Thank you, Susan. It's another upsetting story. I know they said, you know, the video doesn't tell the whole story, but what we're seeing on the video is very disturbing, so I hope they tell the rest of it soon. And I think it's important to point out the officer charged with the shooting, he was new on that force, but he had worked, he was a veteran officer. He'd worked at other departments for 8 years, so I think it's important to point that out.
Yeah.